not step on the snek. No, do not step on the fucking snake. No, do not step on the snake. Do not step on the snake. Gosh dang it. I am so sick of it, dudes. What the fuck are we doing as a people country? And I don't understand why more people aren't a little more fired up, right? There are exuberant displays of greed at the detriment of the people all around, and everybody just seems to like not care. Like, what? I'm tired of it, and I don't know what else to do other than get a snek tattoo on my foot and rant about it on the internet. Maybe somebody somewhere will care. Right, and this applies in a lot of different ways and a lot of different levels. I'm going to talk about the one that's specific to me. Forestry, the management of the public lands, right? Because I look out and I see that we have money. We've got money for bombs, the war machine. We've got money for monuments to a man's ego. But what we don't have money for is a public service. It serves the people in so many ways, right? Like, we don't have money for the scientists who help to make informed decisions in the management of the land. That's a good thing. I think that's worth money. We don't have money to employ the working professionals that make the plans off of the science. People who just really care about the land. We don't have money for the technicians and the youth of the nation. We don't have money to bring them on to do work, to do the plan. We don't have money for that, but we got money for others, I think, are silly things. Call me crazy. And the truth is that Smokey the Bear is in a chokehold by the timber barons of America. And Smokey is not doing good, you guys. Smokey's effed up. And sometimes I get tripped out, right? Because I see this, just what is going to happen, the greed and like the, what will come of it. And I get worried, right? And sometimes I feel alone in it because not a lot of people know about forestry or like the management of public lands even. And I had an experience that ties in with the snake. This is one of the main stories I tie up into my snake tattoo is this, like what bias does to a people. Okay, so I have a story. I met some loggers. Right? And like in my head I have a bias about loggers. Like I just assume that they hate the Forest Service. Or that they just don't necessarily agree with what we're doing. They work for industry, basically. That's how they make their money, right? And so I went into the conversation with a preconceived idea of what it would be and who I was meeting with, and it ended up being one of the most revolutionary conversations because I realized that the loggers actually are more on par with who I am and what I'm thinking is going on and what needs to happen and all of it. Like, I was on the same wavelength as the loggers. Like, the loggers also know that Smokey the Bear's in a chokehold and not doing good. And they recognize that perhaps the plan is to let Smokey die so that we can then hand it over to industry. They're tracking on that in a way I wasn't expecting. And they even went so far as to say that, like, the way that the industry manages, it's like the raping of the land. When they said that, I was like, oh my God, it was like too much. But the more that I think about it, I agree, that's exactly what it is. They also are tracking on the fact that the way that we're moving in our management is tethered logging, which would get rid of the need for sawyers or fellers, period. They're tracking on that. They're worried about that. They know that the mills can be automated and they can be replaced. They know that, like, the industrialization of the management and, like, focusing it on focusing in on extraction would, at this point, probably not serve the rural communities. And it's not going to serve the American people. Like, that's your land. You get to pick how it's managed. And now more than ever is like an important time to figure that out and decide what you want. So anyways, I had this like epiphany, this revelation that like, you know, it is our biases and like the mental frameworks that we create of people and like how we think we're supposed to interact with certain people that really messes it up, right? If we are going to elicit any sort of change against the people who are exuberant greed people, only here for extraction and industrialization, the only way that we're gonna stand up to that is through all of the people. But one of the problems in today's society is that we have those biases, I don't know. The snake tattoo kind of represents that, like peeling back those layers. It represents transformation at the core, right? Things are gonna die and be reborn, and you can't stop it. But you can move with it. Does that make sense? Like, I cannot stop the timber barons from choking out Smokey and whacking all the land. I can't stop that. I can't keep the Sawyers from losing their jobs because of tethered logging. I can't do that. But what I can do is get more seeds for when they do that. And like orchards, I mean, like, you gotta have people to manage that. Like, I think if I were to like start something, like, you have to integrate the people into it. That's so important. Anyways, no step on snake. It's also about sort of like the awareness of snake, right? I'm coming into this deep awareness that there are people that wish you ill will and will try to stop you. Sometimes it's subconsciously. I'm not even sure they know that they're seeking to do that. But being consciously aware of the people around me and the influence that they have on me. Snake. That's all I got. Good luck out there.